hand over in just great fashion to not only two colleagues that I worked with, but also two very dear friends of mine. And that would be Lizanne Lightfoot and Tessa Robinson. So without further ado, Lizanne, you want to go ahead and take this and run?
Sure. MJ, we are sad to see you go, but really excited for all the opportunities you have ahead. I'm Lizanne Lightfoot. I've been working for PCS Grades for about 2 years. I'm a military spouse, a mom of 5 kids. I'm a writer, a published author, and usually I've been in the background of PCS Grades as their content editor. So I'm super excited about a new role and the chance to interact with all of you here on the webinars. And just glad to be here and sorry to see MJ go.
And I'm Tessa Robinson. I'm also a mom and I have 2 little ones. I spent about 13 years working in intelligence, and after leaving have spent my time as an editor and writer for the military community. I'm also a huge MJ fan. And fun fact, Lizanne and I have known each other for about a decade. So it's fun to actually be on screen having conversations instead of just through email. I've also done several moves, and my most exciting was to Guam. And I'm thrilled to be your webinar co-host with Lizanne. And MJ, we love you. Of course.
Awesome. And I'm going to let you guys go ahead and go to it. But I want our entire audience to remember that these ladies are here and they're going to take care of you the same way that we always have. And remember, this too shall PCS. Bye, guys.
Absolutely. Bye. And you guys who are watching live, can you just show some love, please, and some support for MJ? She has been doing these webinars for almost 2 years and has offered so much support and resources to our community. So really big shoes to fill. Very excited to be here with my co-host, Tessa. And we're just going to get right into it and introduce you to our guest today. Our topic is all about buying and selling homes in 2022. So we're going to talk about the market and everything that you need to know about real estate this year.
I can't think of a better guest to have, Lizanne, than to have Rena Stevens with us, who's a Caldwell Banker Southern Coast agent, a veteran herself, and a military spouse. So can't think of anybody better to talk about buying and selling a home than somebody who's not just doing it professionally, but lived it from the military side as well. So we are so excited to have you, Rena. We're going to let you introduce yourself here in just a minute. But before we do that, Lizanne, I think you have some housekeeping for us and some prize information.
I do. So you guys want to pay attention because we're going to get to Rena in just a second. But before we do that, I have to remind you that throughout today's webinar, all of your comments, all of your interaction, and everything that you ask us, we want to answer your questions. And we also want to reward you with some pretty cool prizes. So today we are giving away 2 PCS binders from the Stress Less PCS kit. And our grand prize is a gift card from Home Depot in the amount of $350. So very excited to be able to share that with our audience today. And I hope that you will just ask all of your questions to us, to Rena. We are here to support you through the process. Any of your suggestions that will make home buying and PCSing easier for our fellow watchers would be stupendous. So as MJ always told you, just remember that those LOL smiley faces do not count as entries, but every other question and comment does.
Wonderful. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Rena, we're going to start with you. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and the work you do for military families, preparing them to move?
All right. Well, it's kind of one of those, where do I start? So thank you guys for having me. Welcome to my office/bedroom. We got to love military housing. There's only so much room in these houses. So I joined the Army in 1999. I met my husband in 2003. We married in 2004. So we've been on this journey for quite a while, almost 18 years together. We've got a set of twins that are 16. I got a little guy that's 8. And we have PCSed about 11 times. That's from all within the United States, which is crazy. So we finally have orders for overseas this fall. So we're looking forward to that. But and then if I count the amount of times that we've bought at an installation, we've sold it, but then moved on the installation, then I think that puts us to 13 or 14 moves through our 18 years. So I think I can qualify as a seasoned PCS spouse. But I started real estate a few years ago, and I really got interested in it because I found that there wasn't a lot of people that I could connect with that understood our lifestyle, our door-to-doors, and really what all our acronyms mean. In the real estate community, there's a lot of classes and courses that have people that let people have the acronym as a military relocation professional, but I find that a lot of times they don't understand our lifestyle and what we're going through. So that's why I decided to pick up real estate a few years ago, and I absolutely love it.
Awesome. Well, we are super excited to have you here with us today, Rena. And before I start asking you some questions about the housing market, I do want to throw up a little bit of shout outs that we have for MJ. Like I said, she has been with the show for a couple of years now. So Sally said, thank you for all your incredible work on the webinar. And we're just really excited for all that she's done and happy to be able to follow up. So Rena, I want to launch into talking to you about your area of expertise. We want to know all about the current housing market. And of course, I understand that it's different in different parts of the country, so we can't always refer to just one single housing market. But what is your general take on what to expect from the market this year, 2022?
So projections that we're seeing are that the market is not going to slow down. Interest rates change daily. And, it's kind of one of those things, if you could lock in a good rate, lock it in. But when interest rates go up, even if they're at a 6%, our market is still going to continue to move because that number is exceptionally well. We're so used to seeing the 2s and the 3s that people think that, oh, the market's going to crash. That's not the case with this. So what I'm already seeing now is, we've transitioned now into 2002. Our market here, this is the Fort Stewart, Savannah surrounding area, is still on fire just like it was over the summer, only we do not have as much inventory because we're not at that peak PCS summer season. So I do project, especially in this area, and I see it in the other states that I'm licensed in, that their markets are not slowing down either. So I anticipate how it was in 2021 to continue into 2022.
That makes sense. And for those of you who did not try to buy or sell a house in 2021, it was a very busy, very competitive, very much a seller's market. And so if you have not been paying attention to that and you're looking into it this year, it's definitely time to look into it and learn as much as you can.
Right. Yes.
What does this mean for, as we approach another busy PCS season, what does this mean for military families specifically?
So, every set of orders are different. A lot of this is let me just backtrack of where we really need to start. So if you know that you're going to be PCSing over the summer or even anytime, a big part of this is it would be a good time to reach out before you get your RFO. Get connected with a local real estate agent, someone who's very versed in the market, because what you need to do is start identifying your area. And I'm going to use Fort Stewart as an example. We have a lot of areas around us. And to be exact, we have 3 different counties that you could live in and still have an easy commute to get to Fort Stewart. So a big part of getting ready to PCS is going to be identify the areas that you want to be in. And I do know that PCS Grades does help with this as well. There's all kinds of resources that are on this site that can help you identify neighborhoods, crime rates, schools. I'm trying to think I've got notes on all this fun stuff too, but these are things and your commute, a commute is a big one. How many gates are on the installation? What's your time going to take for you to get from your door to your office door? So as you venture into the PCS season and you get ready to start pack out, the big thing is going to be your RFO and then your timeline, because that's going to help you establish, for one, finding that local real estate agent. Are you going to go on the base housing list? And get your family squared away. Because I know in our household, when it comes time for PCS, we have full spreadsheets that go down with, schools, again, commute, what we want to spend on our mortgage, local areas. So those are things that really help prepare you because it happens so quickly. It's like it might be January now, and I know we're PCSing, but we're PCSing this fall. We've already started the process to think about this because it's not an overnight thing. It's not a month thing. It takes months to prepare for a PCS.
Yeah, I gotcha. It's definitely a process.
Yes.
So what do you usually tell families as the first step that they should do? When they're trying to buy a home and it's a market that is moving so quickly and competitive like this, what do they need to know specifically about the buying situation?
So if you're specifically about buying is once you find the real estate agent that that you want to work with, and one that you trust, and one that is has a lot of communication with you, then the big thing is going to be, the next is going to be your lender, because your lender is going to let you know again what you're approved for. Oh gosh, sorry guys, I hate it when I get put on the spot with things. But okay, ask me the question again. Sorry.
Oh, Lizanne, you're muted, my friend.
Yeah, there we go, Lizanne.
You're right. Sorry. It is trickier than you'd think. So we're just focusing on the process of buying a home. What do families need to know about buying a home this year?
Get to know your market, because no two areas are the same and no price point is the same. I know that this year we did raise our rates with the BAH, and some places went down, but most went up. So yeah, big one is going to be get to know the area and get to know how long your houses stay on the market. So that's going to be the days on market. Some areas, and I could tell you here, you're going to look at homes that are only going to be on the market for 2 to 3 days, and sometimes not even 24 hours, and they're going to be under contract. So when we talk again about the PCS season, identifying your area is going to be the big one, because when it's time to hit the ground running and looking at homes, you need to be prepared. You need to have your pre-approval in hand. You need to know what you're going to spend to get this home, whether that's going to be your closing cost, escalation clause, are you going to take it as is? So, and these are things also to discuss with your real estate agent to know what to expect when you're putting in that offer. And some of these areas are very competitive because of the schools. And so you've got to be ready to compete with it. And again, having that good lender, having that good real estate agent should be able to hold your hand and walk you through. Or let's say, a lot of us buy blind, be the first one in that house taking video and saying, yes, this is a home that I would purchase. This is going to be a really good investment. And this is a great area, and giving you those resources. Again, I know PCS Grades can give you those as well for the neighborhood, the crime rate, the school system. So those are the big things when you're getting ready to buy a house and you're looking to go ahead and check those blocks off, because when your house hits, there's probably going to be 20 other people that are looking at that same house. And it's a very competitive market, and it's projected to be exactly the same this summer as it was last summer.
So, Carrie, I want to ask you about the flip side of what folks need to do to buy or to sell their house. But before we do that, Carrie Novak asked a great question. How long in advance do you suggest people start looking to buy a home? And what is the average closing time for homes right now?
I think I lost you. Was that say that again?
Yep. So the question from somebody in the audience, Carrie Novak, which Carrie, thank you for.
Oh, hey, Carrie.
How long in advance do you suggest people start looking to buy a home? And what is the average closing time for homes right now, as quickly as they're moving?
As quickly as they're moving, I would say 60 days out, 40 to 60 days out, you definitely need to start looking. Those areas need to be identified. As for closing, working with a local lender, we closed one the other day in 19 days, and that was a VA loan. And we really, because we had to hit the mark. Again, it was a veteran that had gotten out of the service, 100% disability, and we needed to make the mark before 2021 so that they could file and be tax exempt for the next year. And the local lender that we had hit the ground running. As soon as we went under contract, the appraisal was ordered, depending on what state you're in, the attorney, the title, all that was ordered. So I would say about 60 days out. Because typically once you purchase a home, depending on your lender, you're not going to pay your first mortgage until the following month. Mm-hmm. So it kind of gives you that little bit of buffer to get in there where you're not paying still housing here at Fort Lewis, Washington, and now you have to pay for a home at Fort Stewart, Georgia. So I would say that 60 days is a really good time to start, because you could always push that contract out too, where it's not just a 30-day closing. It could be a 45-day. And some of our bigger banks do take a little bit longer than locals. It just depends on. But again, when we go back to lenders, you really want to look at that interest rate of what to lock into. Shop around is a big thing. But I would say 40 to 60 days. But start looking at the broader of the area about 3 months out.
Okay, that makes sense. And yep. Tessa, before we get into your next question, I just wanted to share some comments from Anara in our audience. Thank you so much for chiming in. She's verifying that it took them 2 to 3 months just to get their home recently. And she's echoing your comments, Rena, that the houses are just moving so quickly. She said some homes would not even last a day. There was one that was about an hour on the market and it already had a bid. So it's very difficult to get into that ideal listing that you're just seeing for the first time.
Very frustrating. That's the other part is don't come into this with the expectation that your first offer is going to get accepted, because realistically and statistically, it's not. And that's sad to say, but just kind of prepare yourself that it's going to take potentially a few offers to get in. And again, this is where that local agent is going to be able to tell you what to expect and how to put this offer in to win that bid. I know that some areas of the country, I talked with somebody last night that's on here, and they wrote a love letter to the sellers to get that house. Now, some areas will let you do that and some will not. So that's where, again, you need that local expertise to see what you can use to make you stand out above, 20 offers. And that's kind of low. I had one over the summer that had 47 offers.
Jeez.
Yes, that was a very long PDF spreadsheet for my sellers to decide which one they needed to go with. Yeah. So, so just, again, prepare yourself, especially if you're in California. It's that's a cutthroat market as well, because California is very progressive compared to the rest. But yeah, you're going to be up there with a lot of different offers.
We have some excellent advice for folks who are trying to buy a home in this market, and we really appreciate it. On the flip side of that situation, what advice do you have for military families trying to sell a home this year?
So for selling, I would say for selling, and I just did this with one of you guys as well. The big thing is going to be, for one, get your house ready. And this is going to be to identify any issues that you would have, especially, if you're around a VA market, of what a VA appraiser is going to ding that needs to be, fixed, corrected. Could be wood rot, different things. You want to get the house ready so there's not going to be issues that they can identify. The other thing when you're getting ready to sell is to make the house, I call it, look like a hotel room. Don't take your pictures off the walls that are of you. You want somebody to walk into your home and see themselves in it. The cleaner, the better. The less cluttered, the better. And as for selling, you need to line it up depending on what you're doing. If you're going to buy on the other end, you're going to go into base housing, to where what you're going to look for is a 4 to 6 week time frame for you to put your house on the market and sell your house. Because in this market, a lot of sellers can do an extension, which means that they can still reside in their property even after they sell their home. But then that would also help you to be able to line that up for that door-to-door PCS. So your household goods get picked up on this end, you've purchased on the other, and it's dropped from that door to door. So, as for sellers, lay your time frame out just like you would if you were buying. You have your RFO, know your timeline, back off your days a little bit. So let's say you have to report to, what's another one? Fort Sill, and you're headed to Fort Sill, and you want to get their report, but get there 10 days early. Line up your stuff on this end where your closing date is set on that time frame, where, again, it makes it a little less hassle for that door-to-door move.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's so hard to get all that timing straight.
Yes. Well, and the other big thing is for transportation, and to set that time up, or if you're like us and you do full ditties, we're still married. It's a challenging of the marriage to do full ditties, but I know that I can have my ABFs dropped, that we could load them and clear this house in that time frame and have them dropped on the other end. Because that's another big piece of the puzzle, because you're only allotted so much time on each side that's paid for. Mm-hmm. So we try not to eat into that.
Absolutely. Those are really good strategies. And for those of you who are joining us, we have Rena Stevens with us, a Caldwell banker, expert, realtor, military spouse, veteran. So excited to have all of your experience here with us this week. So I want to talk about some situations that are unique to military families. And again, you guys who are watching, please feel free to chime in with your situations and your comments and questions directly for Rena, because she has been doing such a great job answering them so far. But as we all know, a lot of families do have to buy their home sight unseen or buy a house from a distance. And I know my family ended up in that situation. We actually bought a house in Pennsylvania while my husband was deployed to Japan and I was living in California. So The whole thing was done virtually. We were all in different time zones. The realtor had to be super flexible and take videos and, do everything virtually with us. But for families that find themselves in that situation, buying from either overseas or from a different time zone, what strategies do you recommend for them?
Find an aggressive agent, one that's going to take your calls at night. Like I have clients in Korea, that time difference is it's hard. But I know that when they get up in the morning, there's videos that are in their inbox of a home that they haven't even seen on the market yet that I know that meets their criteria. So don't be afraid to shop around for the agent that's going to go above and beyond and get you in the house to see, because whenever I'd say about 80% of my clients last year did not see their house until they bought it. And actually they already bought it by power of attorney. And then I greeted them about 3 weeks later with their keys. So, what you want to do is find an agent that's going to identify things that are wrong with the house, have full videos for you, set you up with a home inspector, one that is trusted, that comes in and again is going to give you that full report of what's wrong with the house, because you don't want to come in and be like, why is there a water leak, in the corner of my home that I just bought? And that's happened. So you need to find someone that has a lot of ties with the community, that's going to bring you in what I'd call the Angie List people and give you the real feedback on the home, so that when you're buying it sight unseen, and I'm telling you everything's okay, when I give you the keys and you get here, everything's okay and you're happy with your purchase. So it's a hard one to buy sight unseen. I've done it before with a home, and it turned out great, but it could have turned out very bad as well too. But a big one's going to be to go back with the videos, take your time with the walkthrough, and then send your agent back over with the question that you have, especially as you're moving through the house. The other big one would be like the PCS grades. Go on the site. Again, go back to the schools, go back to the neighborhood, call the local police department for the crime rates and see what the community offers. Another big one, which is social media. Go to the installation, the fort, the post, the base that you're going to, and join the sites, because spouses talk. If I go on any of these pages down here and I do the Fort Stewart no spouses rules and I put a question in, I'm going to get a legitimate amount of feedback back, whether I want it all or not. People talk. And there's so many resources as spouses that we have, military wives. There's, all kinds of different ones that branch off for areas. So get on those pages as well to help with the home buying, because again, it will narrow down that area. It could narrow down that HOA that you wanted for the parks, the pools, the different activities that they have. So a lot of it is, do your research, but also find, again, a partner that you trust on the other end to go in and be the eyes for you for your purchase.
For sure. And I mean, thank you for mentioning the PCS Grades Resources, because that's all about our mission, is trying to make PCS moves easier, trying to provide some of that information to help you evaluate an area and learn about different neighborhoods. So we have area guides to help you learn about a brand new base if you've never been stationed there before and you want to know where the heck did we just get orders to. We have area guides for so many military bases all over the country. And then within those specific bases, you can look by base or by zip code, and you can find information about local neighborhoods, on base housing, off base housing, commute times, just so much information, like you've been mentioning, that really helps you decide what's going to be the best home for you.
Right.
And Tessa, I think you had a funny story of that time that you had to help a friend buy a house from a distance.
I do. I was going to say, there's so many wonderful resources on PCS Grades, and we definitely encourage you to use all of them for sure. But like Rena said, you really cannot replace a trusted agent or a trusted friend for that firsthand experience of what a house really looks like. A friend of mine was moving. We'd been stationed in Guam together, and they were getting ready to move to Norfolk. And she called me and she said, I've got this house. The realtor went and looked at it. I love this property. Can you do me a favor? And I said, yeah, absolutely. What do you need? Any videos? She said, no, I need you to go open the dishwasher, stick your head inside and see if it smells, because I guess she'd had a bad experience with a dishwasher that smelled like fish, and all of her dishes then smelled like fish. So that was something that was, a tiny priority to anybody else, but a trusted realtor or a trusted friend will stick your head in the dishwasher for you. So Thank you for that, Rita.
I was going to say, it's like, when you meet people, and especially in this lifestyle, you're like, can you be my point of contact for my children at their school? Like, you know nothing about them, but you're like, I am trusting you with this. So you want kind of the same thing, because we're in the lifestyle where you have to make friends fast, or, find your person quickly, just because we don't have that family aspect. But yes, finding that good friend that will shove their head in the dishwasher, or that agent that will do the same thing. Yes, absolutely. That's the way to find it.
And I think Jenna commented what a great realtor you are. So I have a very strong suspicion that you would definitely stick your head in the dishwasher. So we want to switch gears a little bit to talk somewhat through the buying process. So can you tell us, would you recommend your clients use a conventional loan or a VA home loan, and why?
Okay, so that's a loaded question.
You're welcome.
Yes, thanks guys, really appreciate it. So, it's going to depend on where you're at. Of course, VA, you're not going to put anything down. It's going to be a fully funded loan. And you could potentially have closing costs if those can't be negotiated. And in this market, it's exceptionally hard to get those negotiated. But as for a VA, just know that you're pretty much not going to be a lot out of pocket except for those closing costs. Now, a VA appraiser is a little bit more picky, just as an FHA. So there could be additional things with the homes that they would require to be done. A conventional is not as picky as what a VA and FHA are. Conventional is going to ask you, though, to put down a 3%, a 3.5%, or a 5%, depending on your credit score. Conventional is a little bit more lenient with things, but it also depends on what are you buying. Is it buying and selling for a homestead, or is this buying and selling for an investment? And so, again, those are two different things. I don't know if we're probably not going to venture down that one. But this would be where, speaking with a lender, pulling the numbers would be which one that would best benefit you. Meaning, have you already used your VA benefits and you can't get those? And now you need to roll over to a conventional. And so, yes, speaking with a trusted lender, and again, your real estate agent and your lender are best friends because we both have the same goal, which is to get you in that house. So the lender is going to be able to guide you as to which buying is going to be best for you with the two of conventional and VA. Oh, also with conventional, even though, because you'll have to put down either the 3%, the 3.5, or the 5, but you'll also have a PMI, which is your mortgage insurance. And so that's an additional fee that you'll have to pay with conventional until you pay that loan down to an 80-20. So this is a lot. Sorry.
It's really helpful. It's really helpful. And I think, for folks just to understand the difference between the two and what that looks like for their families is really important. So
yes. And again, this is one of those things, and I know PCS Grades, we have lenders that are on there too, but this is a big one to shop around. And find the lender that you're comfortable with, because what I don't want to see is that you get a lender and then you go to 14 different departments and you don't know where your loan is at or who your underwriter is. And that makes it difficult too through this process, because you have to stay educated and you have to stay on top of it in order to maintain the timeline for closing. Because what you don't want to do is have it pushed back and your household goods are set to be delivered, the same day. And that's happened. So this is why picking the two is it's a very big deal to make sure that the whole process stays like exactly it's supposed to on track.
For sure. Well, thank you. And I did just drop a link in the comments that we have a lot more information on PCS Grades on our blog about the VA home loan, about comparing it to a conventional loan, figuring out whether or not your particular situation applies, and just sort of understanding some of the pros and cons, because it is often recommended and yet it's not always the perfect fit for everyone's situation.
It is. Well, and then another thing, just to highlight the PCS Grades, using this program is going to give you that cash back. Mm-hmm. Again, every move is not the same, but every move is going to cost you out of pocket. I don't care what funding they give you back to kind of offset it. It's never going to be enough of what you have to spend for more detergent, shampoo, all your liquids, to get your household established again. And using a program like this, especially through Cardis, you are going to get back, what is it, $350 to up to $7,500?
That's correct.
And again, that's going to give you enough to help reset, restock, go grocery shopping, because every move is exceptionally expensive.
For sure. Well, thank you for doing my plug for me.
Oh,
She's
sorry.
talking about the RealG Military Rewards Program through PCS Grades, we connect you with military-friendly realtors, just like Rena here. And not only do they fully understand all the ins and outs of a military move and the challenges of a PCS, but at the end of the process, you do get a cash back on the purchase amount of the home. So, of course, the amount that you receive depends on the final sale value of the home. But that's whether you're buying or selling. And it's just kind of our way of saying thank you to the military community and thank you to these realtors like Rena who are living this lifestyle, or if they're not military families and veterans themselves, they're getting educated about the military life and trying to find the ways to help us get through every single PCS move. So thank you for all that you do. And I think it just really highlights the importance of having the right realtor and the right fit. And we've had a few comments that I just want to give you a chance to address, what does it mean to be a military friendly realtor and what should military families be looking for in a realtor? This one's actually a bit long, so I'll read it.
Yeah, I was reading that one about you wanted to support the military spouse realtor. Again, this comes back to your personalities and how well you mesh too. You got to find somebody that that you can talk to openly, and that someone's going to talk back to you openly. I completely get it wanting to support a military spouse realtor, but if you're not getting what you need from that realtor, it's time to continue to look, because you are trusting them with the biggest purchase that you're going to have in your lifetime, mostly. And so you've got to find the right fit. And again, I always want to put my, military spouses on a pedestal in their businesses. But again, you need someone that is going to be transparent with you and that you can trust. And if you're not getting that from your realtor, then it's okay to shop around. This is a business, and the business is that you're buying a home and you need to trust who you're working with. So I'd say keep on looking until you find the right fit, because you need someone that's going to advocate in your corner always. And that's why we're here.
That makes sense. So for someone who's beginning the process, if they haven't found a realtor, they don't even know where to start, how would they go about doing that? And what qualities do you recommend they look for?
Oh, that's a good one. So a lot of them too, we talked about social media. Use your social media sites. Put on there who's PCS to this area, who did you use and why. Another big thing for a realtor, again, I think that you want the communication, and that's a big thing. You want somebody that I would say that's aggressive, but not overly aggressive where you're going to scare away the other agent and be like, gosh, I don't want to work with that one. But know that they're aggressive on your behalf, that we're in those homes. I'm telling you what's wrong with those homes. I'm going in the attic and let you know, like, I can see this, this, and that. If we get this offer accepted, I'm setting you up with this inspector. You want somebody that's, what I would say is, take the reins and do the work for you, and then let you know where we're at, and say, okay, we're looking for a 5-2. Here's our 5-bedroom, 2-bath. This is where we need to be looking. This house is coming on the market. I have an appointment time, at this time to get you in. So, and don't be afraid to ask the questions, because there are no dumb questions in the real estate. If you don't know, you need to ask, because you need to be educated again on everything that you're buying. And if your realtor is not giving you the time, is not picking up the phone, and not giving you the answers that you need, then it might not be the right fit.
That absolutely makes sense. Thank you. And again, I'm going to drop a link in the comments about finding a military-friendly realtor. Also, a lot of information on PCS Grades about that topic. It's something that we're passionate about. We want to connect you to the right people like Rena, who are going to go that extra mile and, stay up late and take those videos and just over communicate until you're happy with what you have. Tessa, are there any other comments that you want to take from our audience? I think we've had some good questions coming in.
We've had some great questions. I would encourage you, as we're wrapping things up, if you have any more questions for Rena, while we have this amazing resource sitting in front of us, please do drop your questions in the comments so we can check those out. Rena, while we're looking at some of those, I have a question for you. Somebody had mentioned that their realtor had suggested that they paint their entryway. You talked a little bit about staging your home to sell it. Can you talk to us about some of the tried and true tips you have for getting a house ready to sell?
So I try not to do modifications that are going to cost a lot, because it's not to say that the next buyer doesn't love exactly what you did to that home. Mm-hmm. The big tips that I would say for selling your home again is the staging. Take away the stuff that says it's you. And I always say, take away all of your military affiliation stuff off the walls too, because I don't want a buyer walking in and knowing anything about you. They could know you. You all could be in the same company or unit or battalion or brigade. It doesn't matter. And for that aspect too, when you're staging your home, and I'm taking, we got pictures, we're going up on Zillow, Realtor, Redfin, Trulia, those sites. I don't want people to know who lives in that home either. So to take those things off the walls is just kind of, that's always a big pet peeve of mine. But for color schemes, unless you're like a neon green walking in the entryway that's very bright and bold, and it's it might benefit you to tone that down, but it might be worth it to say, let's have an open house or let's get feedback with people coming in before we go modifying and changing colors, because now that means you have to paint or pay somebody to paint. Just a lot of things that could be extra work that aren't needed. So, and then another way to look at that too would be to go on and see what else is on the market and what color patterns that they have in their home to see if you're comparable. Because again, their days on market will kind of, it could be your exact days on the market, and you could have the same color patterns and the same style of home. Does that, I don't know, does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
And we had a couple of audience comments come in. One of the best tips they had was to declutter, which of course is always a good thing. A quick question for you from somebody in the audience. Van Ray asks, what about carpet stains? If an area is lightly worn, should they replace it?
Well, so again, that could come back to a credit at closing. So let's say, I mean, we all have the traffic pattern in our house. You always go the same way around the couch, or you kind of cut around. Let that be and see what the buyer wants to do. It could be that the buyer is going to come in and rip out all the carpet and do all hardwood. So now you've just wasted money on replacing carpet that they're not going to use, which did not increase the sale of your home. So if that's a concern from the buyers, you're going to get the feedback from the buyers and the buyer's agents. And then from there, you can modify what you're willing to do to sell your home. Meaning I could now offer you a $2,500 closing credits, and you can go and replace the carpets as you see. Or we'll offer a professional cleaning. Or let's say that our furnace or hot water heater are older and that's the concern. Then I'll say we're going to offer a home warranty. Whenever you purchase the home, we'll give you a 1-year home warranty, which will cover these appliances. So there are ways to not make those repairs in the beginning, but to offer it to a buyer in the end so that everybody kind of meets in the middle. And it's not, you're not, again, wasting money for something that they're not going to use.
Right. I really like that. Those are good strategies. It's great to have all those options at your fingertips. I wanted to highlight a couple of comments that we got. Anara is echoing your words, Rena. This is about the previous question, I think, showing how important it is to know that your realtor knows what you want and shows you what you're looking for. She shares that there were times that they had houses shown to them that were basically a complete waste of time. So that communication is just so important. And then I really love this question from Carrie. Carrie Novak, thank you so much for tuning in. She has been chiming away today. She said, what is the craziest experience you've had while selling a house, Rena? Does anyone ever think?
Well, it wasn't signed. It was for my buyers. I went into a house. I had permission to enter. The listing agent forgot to tell the tenant that we were coming in. And I got the police called on me for breaking and entering. And so I had to go to the police station. It was fine. Everything was fine, but it was a good time. It was a good time. So, thanks, Gary. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for going above and beyond and, to the police station. You guys, I love all of the comments and the questions that you've been sharing today. We got another great one from Renee here. Another lovely surprise that they did not know about from the lack of pictures, probably.
One question
Renee, you should be able to cover that. There should be a coating that you can do over that tile to take away that poop brown. So check that out.
Good to know. One thing that, Rena, that somebody asked is if the house is empty, which, oftentimes they are, do you recommend investing in staging? And what are the costs associated with that typically for folks who maybe don't know?
Well, staging, it depends on how big your square footage, how much do you want to stage? But if the house is empty, I think it needs to come back to your days on market. If you're sitting in a house and it's 60 days and you're now eating a mortgage and a mortgage on the other end, it's probably going to benefit you to do something with that. But like in our area, the house might be empty. The family might have PCS and they did it that way. So the house was empty, but the days on market aren't going to be there because it's going to go under contract. So that, again, that's a loaded question because it's going to fall back on where you're at and then your demand for housing. So in our area, I don't find that it's beneficial to stage at a certain price point. Now, if I'm going up in price point into the six figures, the 500s, I probably would have it staged just because it's a lot of square footage and someone has to see how it flows. And that is going to depend on your area again for staging, but it's going to cost you a few thousand because you're going to be renting that for until that house goes under contract.
Okay. And I'm going to take one more here from Van Roy. I think you've kind of covered this in a few different ways, but obviously everyone's situation is different. Sometimes we're working with that date on the orders. Sometimes you're buying or selling a home at the next location. So what kind of time frame do you recommend for putting a home up for sale?
Well, is that for them to get to the next door to door? But I would say that putting your home up for sale, I would do it if you wanted to report before your report date. I would say definitely start to put it on the market around that 40-day mark before you want to arrive at your next duty station. Wow. But again, this comes back to your price point in your market. Some homes that are in the hires do take a little bit longer because that's a specific buyer. That's not open to everybody can afford that with their BAH. Anything under 200,000 typically is going to fly off the shelf because that invites everybody can afford that home in a sense. But when you're looking in the 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s, those could take a little bit longer because you're at a specific buyer that can afford the BAH or the mortgage on that home. So depending on Van Roy, where you're at, I would say at least 40 to 60 days. You probably want to look at getting that on the market, but talk to your agent and see, again, we call it the DOM, the days on market, for your price point of how long those actually stay. And with a comparative market analysis, you'll be able to see the numbers to give you the best idea of when to put it on the market.
Absolutely. That makes sense. And I am just blown away by all the knowledge and all the great stories that you've been sharing with us today. So thank you, Rena. You guys can continue to ask questions for another moment or so, but we are getting ready to wrap up. And that means that it's almost time to give away our prizes. So very shortly, we're going to be putting your names into our wheel of names to randomly select. We're going to have 2 winners for a PCS binder, which is from the Stress Less PCS kit. And we are going to have 1 winner of a $350 gift card from Home Depot. So just want to give a huge shout out to Home Depot for donating that and sharing that with us today. Rena or Tessa, are there any other questions or comments that you want to have while we're wrapping up?
I know there's probably going to be questions that will come on after this event and people have watched the live feed. But I'm still here to answer questions for you guys. If you want to shoot it over, I'll be more than happy to give a response. So just let me know what you all need. And hey, thanks again for having me.
No, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. I think as Lizanne is getting ready to do the Wheel of Fortune, Names of Fortune, what is it? Wheel of Names. We do want to just tell you a little bit more about PCS Grades while we wait for that. Through our weekly webinars, PCS Grades brings the experts to you. From Transcom to education to industry experts, they are here to answer your questions. And I hope we've been able to answer many of your questions today. Like Lizanne said, please continue to ask in the comments. We'll address them if we can. Rena's been a great expert for us. Sometimes if you have a specific situation that may only apply to you and your military family, we know that it's sometimes difficult to find the exact resource out there. In those specific situations, there are 2 resources we recommend you reach out to first. First and foremost, go through your local chain of command and then your local transportation office. Those are the folks that know you, the people who are dealing with your stuff, and those are also the people that can help move your specific issues for action. Of course, you can always find your answers on PCS Grades as well, where you can read and leave reviews from other military families like yours for such things as on or off base housing, neighborhoods, movers, real estate agents, Rena, schools, and more. We've got area guides, like Lizanne mentioned, BAH calculators, blog articles, and so much more. So head on over to PCSgrades.com after the webinar to explore. All right.
I have to delay for another moment because I'm telling you guys, we had so many great comments today that I am still putting the names in. So I'm going to need another moment.
Yeah, I can sing and dance. And actually, Rena, while we do that, why don't you tell us some of your fantastic success stories of real estate life? Can you tell us about a specific family that you feel like you really helped? It's such a personal decision buying a home. Some of those
I was going to say, Jenna's on here.
Yep.
Jenna trusted me with selling their home, and we weren't even on the market for, I think, Jenna, 24 hours, and we had about 6 offers to shift through, and it ended up going to a military family that was PCSing in, and they're just happy campers that are coming in. I don't know. I feel like they're all success stories for the most part. Like finding people the home, and especially in this market, it can be difficult. And there are some days where you hit the ground running at 8, you don't stop till 6. But getting the offer accepted and getting them in a home to help with that easy transition, I call it the seamless transition from the door to door. There's nothing better than that, because I know that took something off of their plate during that PCS season. And PCS, and it's not for the faint of heart. It sucks. Can I say that?
PCS might be a 4-letter word for sure.
Yeah.
We had another question just come in, Rena, that if you don't mind addressing. Do you ever recommend buying land? Asks Megan Kramer. What are your thoughts on buying land?
So buying land, yes. I mean, it's a piece of earth. You can't recreate it. And it's becoming few, far, and in between of what you can buy. But Megan, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to hang on to it and come back in a few years and build on it? And again, the cost of everything is only going to continue to go up. So I do say yes to land. I own land, and I plan on hanging on to it. It might go to my kids. I might build on it. I don't know, or I might sell it in 20 years. But again, it's a piece of property that's mine. So yes, but just make sure that your land is usable and it's buildable, because some areas, counties, require certain easements from waterways and different things that only gives you a small little centerpiece out of so many acres that you can actually build on. So just do your research with your meets and your bounds, and know what your county will let you do with that land. But I do say yes, absolutely, with land. Yes, VA will let you buy land too.
Oh,
So
awesome.
again, talk to your lender with that one, because it could be what you plan on using it for that loan.
Wonderful.
That is awesome. Well, I am super excited to share some of our prizes with you guys today. So first up, we are going to be giving away 2 of these PCS kits. This is from Stressless PCS. And I think we'll be dropping the link up here in the chat in just a moment so you can see. But it's a kit that comes with all of these labels, color-coded for your boxes, door hangers to put on the rooms so that you're not having to verbally direct every single mover with every single box into its specific location, and a handy color-coded chart so that you can see how many boxes go to each room and you can kind of tell at a glance what you're missing. So I love it. I love the organization, and I hope that it is going to help some of your PCSs go a little more smoothly. We are giving away 2 of them today. And as you can see, we've had so many comments and such great engagement that the first 2 names I'm going to pick from here are for our Stressless PCS kits. So let's go ahead and see who wins the first one.
The noises are so fun. I just love it.
Yeah. It's like a little drum roll. Ariana is our winner of the first Stressless PCS kit. And Ariana, if you can private message our page, the PCS Grades page, then we can get all your contact info and get that sent out to you. So I'm going to spin again. And this is for our second PCS binder kit. This one goes to Carrie Novak. Congratulations and thank you. She had a lot of great questions today. And this one is our top prize. So again, a special shout out and thank you to the Home Depot for this $350 gift card donation. We hope this will really make someone's PCS a little bit more pleasant, and you can restock and fix up that new home quickly. And this one goes to also carrying
Lots of comments, girl. That's how you do it.
So thank you so much for all of your great questions, all of your comments. Rena, thanks again for coming on with us and just sharing all of your wisdom and your insight with us. Really appreciate you taking the time. And we are going to be here next week. You're going to see Tessa. And Tessa, do you want to tell them what the theme is for next week's webinar?
I believe it's PCSing with pets. Is that correct?
It is indeed. Right? So we want to take all of your questions about moving with pets, the cost, the tips and the tricks, and everything that you need to know, because Tessa is going to be interviewing a PCS pets expert. And we just want to thank you again and let you know that we'll be back. And until then, our closeout phrase is, this too shall PCS.
Thank you so much. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye, everybody.